Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always...
Hello, I'm Scott.
Hello, Scott. It is the end of the month, and that means it is our news roundup, and we are, I think at the time of release, T-minus 2 days away from the new season of Doctor Who.
Oh boy, it's very close. It's unbelievably close.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's the gap between seasons, it feels like forever, and this year especially, because there was no information, it feels like there's been no information about the season, and then suddenly the series is about to begin. I feel not ready for it in the slightest.
Neither do I. I'm just we still don't know much about what's going on this season, and I'm excited, but it doesn't feel like it's happening yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it'll feel like it's happening until I'm sitting down watching it at 6:30 on BBC One.
I'll have to wait until 11 o'clock, because I'm working. Can't wait.
Gonna spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it.
I appreciate that. I can't wait. I just won't look at my phone.
But today we are going to be looking at some Series 13 previews, predictions, and other news in the news. This is a Doctor Who podcast.
Well said.
Thank you.
There was a big kind of a big interview thing that came out.
You're good with words as well.
I mean, not much from the interview is something we can talk about. It's basic stuff like, COVID and stuff. How did they do in COVID times? But we did get a description, and I'll read it now with my word mouse. From Liverpool to the depths of space, via the Crimean War, and a planet named Atropos. Atropos?
It's another Chibnall alien planet, isn't it?
It's better in the Battle of sounds close
was
enough.
the name, yeah.
And a planet named Atropos, which shouldn't even exist. Fighting old foes and new creatures from beyond our dimension, the Doctor and company face a race against and through time to uncover a universe-spanning mystery. What is the Flux? So, what do you think of that?
I think it sounds fun, and maybe the flux is the thing that's causing all these fluctuations in quality that we've been seeing with this Jodie series recently.
The idea of a planet Atropos, which shouldn't even exist, makes me think it's a reality-altering thing, which could suggest the Timeless Child is a reality-altered thing, or maybe it's from another parallel. I don't know how to say that word.
Parallel universe.
Parallel.
Yeah, especially as it's fighting old foes and new creatures from beyond our dimension. That just makes me think of the modern Cybermen that were from the alternate dimension Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it depends on how far they want to go with it. They could just introduce new aliens, like this is the Blorg and this is the Shmlu, or they could do a more fun thing with, they're bringing the Weeping Angels and the Sontarans and stuff back, but have alternate universe versions of those. What if it's a Weeping Angel that only moves when you look at it? It's
the world's easiest villain to get rid of.
Yeah, just don't look at it.
Just close your eyes.
Just like alternate universe versions of classic Doctor Who villains, I think would be kind of cool to see.
What would the alternate universe Dalek look like?
Let's see. What would it look like? So the Dalek is kind of cylindrical, so it'd have to be square. As everyone knows, that's the opposite of a cylinder. It would be a cube, really. And instead of wheels, probably little legs.
Instead of a mutant inside of a tank, it's a tank inside of a mutant.
Yes. Yeah, and they're just super compassionate. They love everybody.
They use her plunger and laser as arms to hug people.
Yeah, that's a good villain. That's a good villain.
But they loved people too much, and that's the problem. Make everyone uncomfortable.
Yep.
Perfect.
Jodie said in, I guess this is all from this interview from the cast and crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jody said, even with the serialization, it's still very episodic, and each episode has its world that is different from the rest. There may be characters you see again, but you certainly feel like you're taken through many different worlds and times like you would in our previous seasons. From where we've left her, I think self-discovery is the biggest journey the Doctor goes on in this series. So yeah, that's definitely going to be talking about Timeless Child stuff, surely. Or maybe they're giving her Doctor a personality.
But yeah, with the announcement that it feels like one big movie, this certainly makes it sound less like it's one big movie, just like a proper episode of a show, like a season of a show, basically. Like,
yeah, so it's like one big movie where every hour the movie changes into a different movie.
Yeah. So it's a bit of false advertising, I would reckon.
I guess it's serialized in that they're fighting the same villain, or they're chasing the same villain throughout, but in each episode they're facing off against another villain. So like the first episode's the Weeping Angels, isn't it? Which we'll go on to talk about.
Yeah.
I think, and then the next episode's the Sontarans, and then the third episode will be whatever. But throughout that, it's like the Flux in the background being like, "Ooh, we're the Flux," as I'm sure is their famous quote they'll say. That's my prediction.
But I'll be interested to just see how much everything's connected. Like, will it feel like one big thing, or will it just feel like Doctor Who without all the filler? Like,
I think it'll be serialized in the way. Do you remember in Capaldi's second season when everyone complained his first series was way too episodic, and Moffat went, "Okay, I fixed it. Now every episode's a two-parter." So it's just every episode's going to end with a "to be continued."
That's certainly the impression I'm getting. Certainly. But Chibnall was saying his vision for his series was to create a massive story, bigger than we've ever told of Jodie's Doctor. And when I say bigger than we've ever told, I mean bigger than they've ever told, because we didn't make it. We wish we did.
We've made some big stories with Jodie's Doctor, I'm sure. Yeah.
And to start with an episode that feels like a final, carry on from there and play out the rest of the story, I wanted it to be really epic, to be fun with lots of cliffhangers, to be surprising, and really to do things we haven't done yet with 13th Doctor. Like, give the character a character, as Matthew said. The Ravengers is one of the main villains of the season, and they're kind of like the Corpse Bride couple that we saw
the
in
Crystal people.
Yeah. They look kind of like a Corpse Bride.
I think they look terrible. I think they're the least good-looking villain that they've shown off so far. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan of their design.
I'm fine with them. They look like royalty. It looks fun. Instead of crystals, these people wear people on them because it's anti-real life. Because they're crystal people. Okay.
I'm gonna let that linger.
So the Ravagers are a couple of characters who we meet who are creatures of another dimension who have a history with the Doctor. But I even think with this I am giving too much away because he likes to keep everything a secret, doesn't he, Matthew?
He's really selling, like, almost overselling this series. So, like, we had Jodie being like, oh, it's kind of episodic. Some of the episodes are a bit self-contained, but there is a story going on throughout. And then Chibnall's like, every episode's a finale. Every episode is the biggest episode we've ever done until the next episode comes out. You're not going to believe it. Your mind will be blown. Like, he's really bigging up this season for it to be kind of disappointing. Because if going into this first episode, if he's saying it's going to be like a finale episode of Doctor Who, it's going to be the biggest thing ever, that's the stakes now have become incredibly high. Like,
yeah, it's I'm just curious to see how this will hold up. It's certainly overselling it a lot, isn't it? Yeah,
but I as much as Chibnall has burned me in the past, I am forever optimistic that he will surprise me and come up with something amazing. So.
As am I. All I hope is that there's a good resolution of this Timeless Child storyline. And I think
I just hope there's a resolution to one of the storylines, really.
Like, one of the biggest issues I have with the whole Timeless Child thing is that the Ruth Doctor had her TARDIS, but it looks exactly like a police box. How did that happen? It makes no sense.
It was a coincidence. But Scott, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Right? So, if if Ruth's doctor didn't have the TARDIS, how would Jodie know that she was the doctor? You know, how would we ever find a way of communicating that information?
For it to look exactly like the TARDIS's basic
Yeah.
form, like
Yeah.
like little cylinder dudes.
I don't know. I feel like it had to be a police box because
Also, when you look for the Ravagers on Google Images, all you'll see is the Ravagers, the Ninth Doctor box set. You'll always see that.
every time I read it, I have to reread it because I read it as Ravengers.
Same
Like,
here. I've always said it by mistake.
I kind of wish that they were the Ravengers because tying in that Big Finish box set would have been the coolest thing Chibnall could have done. Like, but Matt Stevens, who's an executive producer, what is it that an executive producer does? Not this.
He executes people,
They come on set and they shake hands.
pretty much.
So, and just going from what Egg Helms has told us. But Matt Stevens said that the Flux is kind of the biggest nemesis that the Doctor has ever faced. It's a huge destructive force, but quite what it is and why it's become unleashed will become apparent as you watch the serial unfold. It's quite awe-inspiring and terrifying, and the way it's realized on screen will be, I think, quite breathtaking for the audience as they realize what the Flux is and what the Flux does. Again, overselling like crazy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like, we've seen a trailer now, and I'm kind of thinking the Flux will be basically like a sky beam. It feels like it's going to be a sky beam of some sort. Which
Imagine if this series ends with the sky beam.
it probably will. It's going very Hollywood this season.
That's true. That would make me really sad.
But yeah,
That would make me really sad. God damn.
my hopes is for some kind of like Inception, kind of like reality altering, time folding in on itself, kind of like that kind of angle. But I don't know if the budget will do that. I'm not sure what this will look like.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that they're calling the Flux the biggest nemesis that the Doctor's ever faced, and that, you know, it's going to be breathtaking and terrifying and awe-inspiring. I really doubt it. But I really like in Matt Stevens' quote here is he explained what watching TV is.
Does he?
Yeah. As it'll become apparent as you watch the serial unfold.
Yes.
like most television shows.
And also when he says that the Flux is the Doctor's greatest villain, I just imagine the Cybermen or the Daleks just in the corner being like, I thought I was the greatest villain.
Yeah.
And just crying.
Davros and Missy both turn their heads like, what?
But yeah, they are certainly overselling it, and I hope it pays off in some way, but I think it's...
When has overselling something ever gone wrong? What? Show me one time.
Yes, I'll just sit right there for like 2 days and I'll just show you every example. Okay.
Yep.
But yes, we got the description for the Halloween Apocalypse, which is our first episode of the season, which appropriately airs on Easter Day.
Yeah. Easter Day, October 31st.
My favorite day.
Secret Easter, as it's sometimes known as.
Is Easter Day even a name of a day? I don't think so. Easter Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the description is, on Halloween, all across the universe, terrifying forces are stirring. From the Arctic Circle to deep space, an ancient evil is breaking free. And in present-day Liverpool, the life of Dan Lewis is about to change forever. Why is the Doctor on a trail with fearsome Carvanista, and what is the Flux? The Carvanista is a big doggy creature.
Right, okay, so... again with the Chibnall alien names, the Carvanista.
Just call it the Pupper.
Or the Carve, you know? Just get rid of the Nista. Why do we need it? But whatever. And the only thing that I have there, like, it sounds like a pretty fun little episode description, is Dan Lewis's life about to change forever? The clip that they released of him, where it's Halloween and he's like giving out candy to trick-or-treaters, and then a like grown-ass man comes and asks for trick-or-treat, and he's like, no, go away and don't egg my house. Dan Lewis's life is about to change because someone eggs his house.
That's entirely possible. The Flux is the guy who eggs his house.
The Flux is the eggs.
And that's where you get, and that's where the Daleks and the Ood are involved because they have the eggs. The Ood hold the egg,
Yeah,
and the Daleks have the egg inside of them.
yeah, it all connects. It's like poetry. It rhymes. But Matt Stevens, who was the executive producer man I just quoted, said, "We're bringing back the terrifying Weeping Angels, who have a very sinister role to play and a very different role to play. It's quite an interesting development to their story, if you like. And this plays into my theory that it's the Weeping Angels you have to look at for them to move." Because they have a very different role. Their role before is don't look at them. Now their role is look at them.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around, isn't it?
Either way. Well, the role of the Weeping Angel is don't look and they'll move. And now that it's look at them and they'll move. That's
Right,
how
okay.
I worded that sentence, yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. Lots of globe traveling with the Arctic Circle to deep space, which I like in Doctor Who, but I think in the past, like last series, we had episodes like Praxius, where they went to 3 different continents, and because of the 15-minute runtime, it kind of falls flat because you have to rush the plot around. But here, in a 6-episode run, you can really travel across all dimensions of space and time and Earth and all that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing the Weeping Angels back. I'm curious as to how big of a play they'll be into the plot, because the Doctor's chasing the Carbonista, and we've also got the Flux going on, and now
Yeah.
there's also Weeping Angels in this episode. Are they just going to be in it for one scene? I could see that happening.
I reckon they'll have like 10 minutes of screen time. They'll be very minimalistic.
Yeah. But, if they do come back and they're pretty decent, it will make it the second best Weeping Angels episode.
Not
because
much
every
of a
time the
competition.
Angels, every time the Angels come back, it is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So the bar is pretty low. You just have to be like decent enough. You don't need to hit Blink level with them because you're never going to achieve that again. But you just need to be like, oh, that wasn't terrible this time.
I think the Weeping Angels work in the same way that the Odd Ones do. Just keep them in the background, set up all your mystery, and there'll be a decent enough villain that we won't be distracted by the lack of any villains.
Well, the issue with the Weeping Angels is when they start to explain the Weeping Angels,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
Like, the more you explain them, the less scary they become.
Because
you start noticing inconsistencies.
Yeah, like the image of a Weeping Angel becomes a Weeping Angel itself, or the Statue of Liberty is a Weeping Angel.
Yeah, or, even, like, I hated it in the episode where you saw the Weeping Angel's arm move.
Yes.
I hated that, yeah.
But in a different role to play it with the Weeping Angels, I'm thinking maybe they're kind of guarding something that the Flux escapes from. So that's possible. They're just sent to guard
Remember
this
the
area.
Weeping Angel that was in a prison
Yes.
that the Doctor was in last season?
How
Yeah.
did the Jadoon get the Weeping Angel out?
And how did it not get on the security cameras as a Weeping Angel?
Yeah. How did the Silence get in the same prison? Like, the Jadoon will be like, forget. Shut the fuck up. but the Jadoon will just forget about the Silence immediately. Like,
Yeah, that was really more of a fan service prison than a prison, wasn't it?
yeah. I think there's too many times in modern Doctor Who, especially like the last 10 years, there has been too many cameos. Like, the Pandoric Opens is just a cameo fest.
But it's good.
It's
That's
good,
done
yes.
well.
It's done well,
Like-
yes. And I hope that's not what this season is. Like, the fact that most villains are returning is kind of like worrying to me because I'm not sure how much they'll be able to do.
And they're returning for one episode.
Yes.
Like, it's the Weeping Angels episode 1. And moving into our next thing we're about to talk about, Sontarans in episode 2, And what's the chances that in the finale they all come back?
So I wonder what this episode 2 episode 2 is going to be about, because the title doesn't make it clear enough, I don't think.
Yeah, so the title's called War of the Sontarans. I'd like...
This could be the episode where the Cybermen come back.
I feel like out of all of the episodes, this one is probably going to have the least action scenes. I just have that feeling. But the description for it is, in the Crimean War, the Doctor discovers the British army fighting a brutal alien army of Sontarans. As Yaz and Dan are thrown deeper into a battle for survival. What is the Temple of Atropos? Who are the Morai? the Maori. I hate Chibnall's aliens.
Yeah, it's kind of like all over the place. Like you get easy names like Ood, Cyberman, Daleks, and then here we have Atropos and the Battle of Krebsabswinwikundok.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's not great title, and
Well, you know, they're aliens, aren't they? So why would they sound human? Well, maybe because you're making a TV show for humans.
for children. Do you think children
Yeah.
are going to be like, oh, I love the Battle of Atropos?
See, it's the sort of thing, you know, you could call an alien Glippity Gloppity Glop because he's an alien and that's, you know, an alien name. And you're like, okay, cool, I can get on board with that being an alien name, but I'm never going to remember his name being that. If you
Yeah.
show me a blue alien and say, his name's Bill, I'll go, okay, that's Bill. I got it. No problem.
like when the Slovene were introduced, their home planet name was the joke. It was a joke that we couldn't pronounce it, and then they
Yeah.
doubled that joke in Love and Monsters when the planet name was revealed to be Clom, of the cousin villain.
The sister, yeah, the twin planet, Clom. Yeah. Yeah, it's a silly show, Doctor Who, isn't it?
Just a little bit. I think we're complaining a bit too much. But you know, I think that's what Whovians always do, just complain. Every time.
It's okay. The new season will come out, and I'll be super happy for a while. And then it'll end, and I'll look back on it and go, "Wait, that was terrible."
So any more theories about what's happening this season? Because I don't think I've got enough information to really hold any theories. Just about time-altering, reality-bending stuff.
Don't have a theory as to what the Flux could possibly be. I have a lot of theories as to how they're going to use the villains in the show. You know, like they're going to be like one episode at a time, maybe not play into it a super large amount and just kind of be in the background or just be fan cameos. And, you know, with the episodic thing and their overselling of it, this could be the most amazing Doctor Who series of all time. The way they're bigging it up to be, it has to be. But as far as actual plot goes, I think they've done a really good job in not
Yeah.
giving us any information other than there's the Flux. What is the Flux? Who knows?
It's not a good sign when every description is like, what is this? Who are these people? It's just, it's a bit
I'm
too...
really worried we're going to get a repeat of last season's finale, where it's the villain giving a 10-minute monologue that's gibberish if you don't know anything about Doctor Who.
I am happy the Sontarans are going to be back in a role. I hope they get enough of the episode that it's not overshadowed by the mystery of the temple of blah de blah and the Mori.
It'll be the episode opens up to the battle with the Sontarans going. We see that shot of the Sontaran take off its helmet, and we're like, oh no, it's the Sontarans. And then the Doctor and that are running away from the Sontarans firing lasers at them. They fall down into the temple.
And also
And then we never see a Sontaran again.
Yeah, also Chibnall says that the Sontarans are good because they're also funny. I don't remember the Sontarans being funny in the classic series, which is kind of worrying. I know in the modern...
Maybe it's like a blend, you know,
Yeah.
of New Who Sontaran personality with classic Who Sontaran design.
Because, like, Sontarans are, like, in the top 5 of most recurring villain, and I don't want them to be the joke, you know what I mean? I want them to be treated seriously, because...
But they're potato people.
You're a potato person.
Yeah, but I don't have an off switch on the back of my neck.
True, that's a valid reason for them not to be intimidating. But, you know, I didn't like... I liked Strax fine enough, but he was rather too one note for most of his run. I hope this isn't what the Sontarans are going to be again.
They will be.
Hopefully not.
But what is Doctor Who Empire of Wolf?
This is the comic book series by Titan Comics, I believe, or one of those other comic companies that aren't Marvel or DC. So it's basically got trapped in a parallel universe. Rose Tyler believed her adventures with the Doctor were over. Now pulled by a mysterious energy into this reality, she must work with two Doctors, the 8th Doctor and the 11th Doctor, to end the tyrannical rule of the warmongering Bad Wolf Empress, which is also Rose Tyler, because is like an alternate reality Rose.
There's a lot of dimension stuff happening in Doctor Who at the moment, isn't there?
There is. I think there's a lot of multi-dimensional things in pop culture in general, like the new Spider-Man and the new Flash movie.
I
And
would just like to say that I was doing it first. So
in what?
if in Messy Story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, you are you should get paid the copyright.
Trendsetter.
Yeah.
Trendsetter. I am a trendsetter. Marvel saw my web series, A Messy Story, available on youtube.com/messyoutube, and went, that's what we should be doing. That's the answer right there.
So a few months ago, we talked about one of the covers being a mystery reveal of one of the characters. I said, "Oh, it looks kind of like a Sontaran." Well, it turns out it was a Sontaran, and the new comic will see them face one of the new Sontarans, which is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this comic. What about you?
I bet they're going to be hysterical. I bet they're going to be some really funny Sontarans in that comic.
Are you going to?
They're just hitting knock jokes left and right.
But are you gonna read this comic?
No. It's one of those things, I would like to read this comic, but there's not enough hours in the day for me. I will forget it comes out, and maybe if it like catches on and gets shared around by Doctor Who fans in the forums and stuff like that, where people are like, "Holy crap, this comic's excellent," then I might pick it up. But it's really not on my list of things that I need to read and watch and stuff at the moment. There's too much.
Yeah, I'm thinking of reading this. My work is like right next to a comic book store, so I'll probably just check one out. I'll buy it. But yeah, I'll check out this comic. It does seem a bit fan fiction-y if you look at the link I put in the Google Docs.
Yeah, it doesn't seem canon.
Yeah, like one of the panels is just Rose Tyler having given birth to a daughter, and Tennant is kissing her on the forehead. It's it's a bit fan fiction-y.
It's fun though. It's fun. I think the comics are the one part of Doctor Who canon where it's a bit harder to tie it in.
Yeah.
With the actual show. Like with Big Finish, it's relatively easy to be like, oh, this just takes place between episodes. And you can do that with some of the comics, but then some of the comics, like this one, this is a pretty wild story with multi-dimension hopping. It's got Rose from the other dimension. I mean, you could act, I suppose, it depends. Because they're saying she's pulled Miss into this reality, which would mean it's the show's canon universe.
Yeah.
Where the 8th and the 11th Doctor fight the warmongering Bad Wolf Empress. Why not just make it another reality that she gets pulled into? I guess. And then you could say it's canon. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe Bad Wolf Empress is from another reality as well. I mean, that'll be the blue mysterious energy thing, isn't it? Pulling her in. It'll be like a crack in time, but it's a crack in dimensions.
Yeah, so 2 Rose Tylers, 2 Doctors. Nobody will remember us at the end because of the whole timeline thing. Like, I don't think the 8th Doctor and 11th Doctor will remember this, so it doesn't really hold any fact to the show, and Rose Tyler will never be back, so the events can't be explained.
She's in another universe that, like, it literally, none of the events matter, but it's cool that they're happening.
But yeah, that's something. I'll probably check it out. I'll probably review it here. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other news, a brand new Doctor Who game released a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week. I don't know what time is. I'm yet to purchase it. But our good friend Scott here threw his hard-earned cash at it. And what do you have to say about this new Doctor Who game?
I don't know why I spent money on it, because I'm low on money this month. Why did I do this? I could have used that for food. But yeah, it's pretty poop, as I put very eloquently in the title on the Google Docs. It's not great.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems is like the frame rate keeps on stuttering. Whenever you look at the TARDIS on screen, it's trying to account for the space inside of the TARDIS as well. So the frame rate will just drop to like 10 frames per second, which does not look pretty on my PS4, I'll tell you that much. The first puzzle is just full of darkness and you can't see any item you're trying to pick up, which is, when you're trying to strain your eyes and just look at the screen, that's not very good. And the puzzles in general are just basic kids game. Like, one of the puzzles is basically Simon Says. I played Simon Says about 2 times in my playthrough. It's just pushing buttons as you'll see on the screen, and it's really dull and boring. And there's a whole laser thing. So you're in a room, you're on a spaceship, and you're trying to point lasers to open up panels, and the panels contain like mirrors, and you bend the lasers around, and it's not clear enough that new panels are being opened because there's no sound effects. You're just struggling to know what the fuck to do. You're just trying to push buttons and you don't understand what you're looking at. The audio mix is also really bad. You can't hear what Jodie's saying over the music or anything like that. The interface itself is really bad because when you're trying to do some of the puzzles, it's not clear enough what you're trying to do. Like, people get stuck on it. Like, there's a Simon Says game inside of a TARDIS and you're trying to pull some levers, and one of the levers is like slightly above what you're looking at to the right, and it's not clear enough. And I've seen people on Twitter trying to do this, and we're like, it's broken, because we don't realize that it's slightly above to the right, which is not great design, is it? And also the TVs. So the TVs are supposed to show images of Jodie Whittaker talking to you, but when I'm playing the game, I don't see the TVs working. So you're just often standing there for like 2 minutes while she's talking to you, and you don't see anything. So you're just standing there in a dull, dark room, waiting for something to happen. It's not a very good game. It's very dull. That's my review.
It's a game of the year candidate.
But yeah, £20, or if you spend £25, you'll get some sonic screwdrivers and some gloves.
I honestly, right, because for the YouTube channel, we're planning on doing a little game review let's play thing for it, just to see what it's like. And I might splurge for the fancy sonic screwdrivers and gloves just to see. Why not? Maybe I'm. You've told me all this stuff. I've seen the screenshots you've sent. I've seen other people play it. It's got terrible reviews on Steam. I'm optimistic. I think it might be great. And I'm just gonna wait and see. I can't wait. I'm excited. It looks phenomenally terrible.
Yeah. There's also a lot of glitches. Like, I got to a point where I'm at a camp and the woman's like saying, "Oh, if you open up this box, you'll see a flashlight." But she kept on saying that for like over and over again. I already had the flashlight, and I had no idea what to do next. So I just walked up that path for like 10 minutes because the map is quite big for a very small amount of what you're gonna do. It's not great. It's really a bit shit. And we will play it on the channel probably. Yay.
But shall we get into the November releases for Doctor Who Big Finish?
Yes, I'm actually looking forward to some of these.
So, the first release coming in November for Big Finish, the third Christopher Eccleston box set. I am excited for this. The Lost Warriors, it is called, and the actual cover for it looks pretty excellent, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to this box set. We've got a big Cyberman at front and center, and I am excited. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. I will read the wee paragraph. 3 brand new adventures featuring Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor. The Doctor meets many strangers on his travels. Some are destined to end up friends, while others were always going to become his enemies, and some were once warriors with reasons of their own to remain hidden from the universe. It sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yes.
The Christopher Eccleston box sets, so far they've gotten better with each release, the 2 releases that they've been, and so I'm very optimistic. The only thing that I will be slightly hesitant with is if these are more action orientated, which the cover makes me think they will be. You've got Cyberman, you've got Giant Man with hammer, you've got Cthulhu in the background. There's like these like Doctor Who facing villains, which I never find super interesting to listen to. I much prefer, like, one of the reasons why I really liked the box set last time is there were just episodes where it was like, here's just 2 people talking for like 15 minutes about like emotion. I'm like, ooh, this is really good listening. So I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, From the sounds of these episodes, they sound very conversational, which I'm looking forward to. Like, one of them's on the set of Metropolis, and Cybermen are stomping around, and that's such a great premise. Haven't seen Metropolis, but I'll probably watch it before this box set comes out. It's like a little companion piece.
Yeah, we also have another episode in Scotland, but again, not Aberdeen, so missed out.
We've got Torchwood, the Red List, and this is a special episode of Torchwood because Ace, the Seventh Doctor companion, is back. And I'm not sure what she's doing in Torchwood. I don't know who the man is next to her. Paul Clayton? Have no idea who that man is. I need to listen to series 5 and 6 of Torchwood to understand, I guess. But yeah, I like Ace. She's one of my favourite companions, so I'll check this out eventually. What about you?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see a classic companion thrown into the sex and violence that is Torchwood. From the classic series Doctor Who, where everything's a bit cheesy, it's sometimes dark, usually the Doctor's waving a gun around.
And also, tell me if this description sounds familiar. At first it was lights in the sky, then the country started falling apart. Two people are trapped in a quarantine hotel in the middle of an alien invasion. Can they save the world without leaving their rooms? It's 2020, isn't it? Except for the alien invasion.
Yeah. Although, I mean, how do we know? Maybe the aliens did invade. We don't know.
But yeah, it sounds very conversational, which is, I think that's where Big Finish know their strengths. Is two people in the room just talking to each other, and they'll try and get out of that room.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a fun one of just a Zoom call. We also have Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter Series 2, still running, which has a pretty fun little box cover.
Yes.
I like the big blue man, whose name I don't remember, but he's from the Matt Smith series. I don't remember his name at all.
I'm looking...
Doesn't he get turned into a head in a box?
Yes, it's Dorium.
Yeah. We also have a pretty funky looking Cyberman and a random dude.
I love this Cyberman. That's the best Cyberman I've ever seen. I fucking love it.
Oh, I mean, it's not as good as Cyberwoman. But yeah. But the episode says Jenny was made a soldier but has a Time Lord's heritage, and that Time Lord is the Doctor. Exploring the universe, Jenny found a friend, Noah, a mystery boy from nowhere. Together, they're ready to save planets, fight monsters, and save the day with nothing but wit and instinct, and an awful lot of running. It's basically the Doctor's daughters become the Doctor.
Yeah, the Doctor's daughter became the Doctor in a Western town because there's a lot of bounty hunting, apparently, judging from the last episode. Like, Jenny wants a bounty hunter cyborg Cult 5000 off her trail once and for all. That's one of the descriptions. Yeah. Don't know what the fuck that is, but it sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting.
And she's got a cowboy hat on. What's not to love?
She does. Yeah. I really enjoy that they're bringing Jenny back in Big Finish because, as funny as the explanation that she crashed her ship and died immediately is, it's a bit unsatisfying, because it was the perfect setup for another spin-off show for Doctor Who to do, and it always felt like a missed opportunity.
To be honest, I never got on board with the whole Jenny needs a spin-off kind of thing. I don't see
miserable.
It. Yes, I am.
Miserable.
Yes, I am. What's your point? But yeah, up next we've got Unit Nemesis 1, and this is obviously got the Brigadier's daughter, Kate, her name is, yes. And it's also got Tom Baker as a curator doctor, and Harry Sullivan from the classic series, so it'll be interesting to see him interact with Tom Baker. And it's got Osgood again.
Yeah, and Ingrid Oliver. And it's also got the Empress of Mars from Peter Capaldi's series.
And it's got Mark Bonner as the 11, which is the Time Lord of all his past incarnations inside his head. That's an interesting box set here.
Quite a cast there, isn't it?
What is this about? An ancient artifact, a stone arch. Oh God, big words.
Uncharacteristically
embedded with electronic oh my God,
circuitry.
It's late. It's recovered following a rupture in the sea stretch of the Mull lava group in northwest Scotland,
Ah, so close.
and geological feature dating from tens of millions of years ago. So yeah, it's very much unit on Earth, except for they've got the Doctor with them.
And
The
yet again,
curator.
they're in Scotland, but they went to the northwest and not the northeast. God damn it.
The curator Doctor seems to be doing a lot of Big Finish stuff, and I wonder what his story is once he leaves that museum.
Yeah, I just want to know who he is.
Yes.
Who is the curator? Like, but it's fun.
Also,
I'm sure.
Also, what the hell is Harry Sullivan doing in the modern day? Doesn't make sense either.
Oh, well, you gotta buy it and find out. you gotta buy it and find out, Scott.
I'm very interested.
Yeah, and then we have Doctor Who, The Doctor Chronicles, The 12th Doctor, Volume 2, Time Jack. What a long ass title that is. But this is a Peter Capaldi box set with the Peter Capaldi impressionist man, isn't it?
Yes. This box set might have one of my favorite descriptions ever. If you look at the second story called Split Second, the description is, "Oh dear, that wasn't meant to happen."
That is a good description for an episode. I get, Capaldi is a big movie star at the moment. He's got a lot of work. He can't really fit this into his schedule, but I would love him to come back to Big Finish, so I can listen to his lovely voice in my ears.
I'm sure he will in like the next 5 years or something. But people really think that Big Finish cancelled him because he said that quote about him at the BBC radio offices being like, it's dark and mungy and I don't like it. And people attributed that to Big Finish and were like, but Big Finish are releasing a new box set about 12th Doctor played by Peter Capaldi. He must be cancelled by them.
People can create a narrative from whatever they want.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the description for this is the Doctor's been time-jacked. Rookie time agent Kira Sandstorm, what an awesome name. Sandstrom, sorry, not Sandstorm. I thought that was a cooler name, but it's Sandstrom. Needs the Doctor's help, and she's prepared to go to extreme measures to get it. Unwillingly whisked away from St. Luke's University, the Doctor quickly discovers that being forced off Earth is only the start of his problems. So this is a Series 3 Doctor of Peter Capaldi's, because he's at the university, which is fun, because that's the best version of his Doctor, Professor Doctor. So I'm looking forward to it. I probably won't listen to it because I'm not a big fan of the guy doing Capaldi's voice.
Yeah, Jacob Dudman. I think he's very good at the 11th Doctor voice. We heard heard a clip of him a few months ago, but yeah. His 12th Doctor is a bit iffy, I think. I'm just not a fan of these in general, just being like, oh, let's fan cast the 12th Doctor. It just feels a bit cheap in a way. I would have preferred them to wait until they got the license, got Peter Capaldi on board. That would have been way more interesting. Save these scripts.
Yeah, and is that the last Doctor Who box set that's coming out?
We do have I, Jacobi, which is Derek Jacobi, the War Master, in conversation. It's a big interview kind of thing. And we also have Dark Season by Russell T Davies, the audiobook, which I've never seen that TV show. I probably won't check out this audiobook, though. But yeah, that's basically it.
The box cover for it's awesome.
It is, yes.
For Dark, it's like super 1980s horror novel. Like,
yeah, I'd like that just as a poster. It looks very interesting.
Yeah, it'd be a cool poster. But yeah, that's all the Big Finish. It's a pretty front-loaded month with Big Finish releases in November, because usually they're a bit more spread out, but like the Peter Capaldi one's the last release they have, and then they have 3 releases after that aren't Doctor Who related, which is interesting.
The one obviously we're going to listen to is the 9th Doctor audio adventure box set, because we'll be reviewing that in December, and I'm very excited.
We will be. Yeah, so am I. Hopefully it won't suck. What are we on to now? Mail?
Yes, we gotta get our mailbag open.
We got a wonderful email from Mr. Friend of the Show, Ewan, who says, "Aloha, sorry, this is a very quick email. I found this funny because I cannot unsee it." And he linked me to a twitter.com post about the Flash TV show casting Despero. being played by what's his name?
The guy who played Vincent Van Gogh, yeah.
Yeah, the guy that played Vincent Van Gogh, and his costume is, to put it mildly, atrocious.
I don't remember what the actual costume looks like. Gonna send that link to me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh boy, yeah. It doesn't look great. It's
It
very...
doesn't.
It's very...
It,
let's just see what we have in our back closet here, and we'll put that on
it
you.
could be it could be the thing that it looks better on camera than it does. Still images always look a bit worse than the moving image when it comes to character costumes. So it could look a little bit better, but who knows? But in the same tweet as well, someone commented below that it's not going to be his final form. He will turn into a giant CGI monster, which, if we know
Wonderful.
anything about the Flash show, we know it'll look terrible. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But Ewan said, doing a Van Gogh impression. It's color. Color holds the key. I can hear the colors. Listen to them. Every time I step outside, I feel nature is shouting at me. Come on, come and get me. Come on, capture my mystery. If I have your speed, I can capture all the colors in the world. Which is, I think, a perfect Van Gogh impression from myself.
Oh, yes.
I was actually in contention to play the role, only just missed out.
On account of you being like 10?
Yeah, I was too young, but they were like, they thought about it. I had them thinking. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Bye-bye now, Ewan. And then he said, P.S. Scott, I do not know if you're doing it on purpose or not, but you say the phrase fantastic possibly 10 times more than the Ninth Doctor ever did. And then he adds, it's in invisible ink, so you won't see it. You're very smelly as well. So that was a bit mean of him.
Yes, my fantastics just slipped out. I caught myself almost doing it earlier when I was doing the Ninth Doctor thing. I was like, it sounds fantastic.
I always catch myself saying it when we're talking about the Ninth Doctor box set. Like, whenever we bring up the box set, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a really fantastic, good episode. You have to, filter it through your head.
But as for the Flash, I'm out of this universe. I think I'll check out Superman and Lois, and that'll be like my last voyage into this CW universe, because they're all shit, aren't they?
See, I made the great decision of dropping out after Arrow season 2 and never going back in it.
I watched this universe way too long. It took me until Crisis on Infinite Earths to finish watching it all, which is 2 years ago. So
it's just something I just don't care about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just simply do not care. There's 20 million shows, and every one of those shows has 1 billion episodes, and they're all 40 minutes long. They all look like ass, and I'm like, cool, whatever. If you like it, nice. I'm happy that you have this show that you enjoy. But I do not care.
I stopped watching Supergirl around the time Lena Luthor is upset with Supergirl because she kept a secret about her secret identity, and she kept on crying about it and became a villain for that reason. That's the whole story arc. She got upset at a whole secret identity.
And also, there's those most recent allegations from what's her name? Ruby something.
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose, who played Batwoman on this CW Batwoman show, about how horribly mistreated she was. So
yeah, I'm not surprised. They shoot 23 episodes a year. It's a nightmare in terms of production. Just the amount of crew members getting injured because we don't have enough time to prepare a scene. It's just insane. There's no reason it should be 23 episodes. Make it 13 episodes a season. That's perfect.
I'm sorry. I just scrolled down on our Google document and saw Mario dabbing. That caught me off guard. Yeah, the CW show's a bit messed up, and I don't care about them. But that's really all we have for news. I'm pretty excited for the new series that's coming out in 2 days' time when this releases.
Insane.
Yeah. But we will now move on to a segment called What Are We... I don't want to say reading. I'm trying to think of a funny, clever way of ripping off... oh my god, what's their podcast called?
Weekly Planet.
That's it. I haven't looked... Right. Weekly Planet was one of the first podcasts I subscribed to and got really into. and I don't remember the last time I listened to an episode of it.
Yeah, I listen to him like every other week, I guess, just the
I
occasional
watch I
episode.
watch I watch their YouTube stuff
Yeah,
quite frequently. I just haven't got into their I've fallen off their podcasts for quite some time.
there's too many
Too ma-
podcasts.
I listen to way too many as it is. Like I think I've listened to 3 podcasts today.
Well, I'll give you a good podcast to listen to. Who Watches Who? Good podcast.
What's it about? What's it about?
About Doctor Who. It's very good.
No, I'm not into that nerd stuff.
But yes, what have you been looking at with your eyeballs this week, Matthew?
What have I been looking at with my eyeballs this week? So I had a fun. That was the October break, so I had 2 weeks off work. To sit around and twiddle my thumbs, and I got really back into playing Stellaris, which is a video game where you create, manage, and try to sustain your galactic empire in an ever-sprawling galaxy as you meet new species and develop technologies and go to war. It's a dense game to get into, but I've been playing it since 2016 and I know it inside and out. It's a phenomenal game. But what have I been watching? I don't know. Oh, actually, I do know. What am I talking about? I've been watching a lot of Torchwood since we watched the first episode of it for the show, which that episode comes out like 2 weeks time? Next week?
Yeah, next week.
Next week, yes. And we've already recorded it. It's already ready to go. We're just keeping it from you until next week. And so I've been watching a lot of Torchwood since then. I've now have like 4 episodes left in series 1. And I would describe the show as being mostly mediocre with good moments in it sometimes. With some weird-ass writing choices in other moments.
Yes, 100% weird-ass writing choices all the way. It's a very bizarre show.
And Cyberwoman was everything I expected it to be, and yet somehow blew my expectations away at every possible moment. It was a spectacular catastrophe of an episode.
Probably Chibnall's worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by far. It's just a bad episode that barely makes sense on itself. Like,
but at the same time, I love it because it doesn't make sense. I love it for being so bad and off the wall crazy.
You know, I wasn't enjoying it until the Cyberwoman performed a brain transplant on herself, and then I went, okay, I'm on board. This episode has just gone off the rails. Like,
that's what I love about Torchwood. Even when it's bad, it's entertainingly bad. It's a weird show. It kind of settles down in season 2, gets better, way better in season 3. Season 4 loses all its identity. It's just a dull show. So, yeah, that's Torchwood.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But other than Torchwood, I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld, which is mostly fine. Every now and then an episode comes out, and I say comes out, this show's like 30 years old. An episode plays, and it's just excellent. But, you know, most of the time it's fine. It's junk food TV. So it's like a TV show I'll put on to be background noise or something to like, oh, I need to kill 20 minutes before I go to sleep. I'll just stick this on. But it's fun. It's a fun show. It looks like ass because of what Netflix have done to it, though.
Yeah, the whole 4K transfer and the widescreen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the quote-unquote 4K transfer where it's just made everything really blurry.
Yes.
Because it wasn't shot in 4K. And they've made it widescreen when it wasn't shot for widescreen, and there's literally jokes you miss out on. It was the same thing Disney Plus tried to do with The Simpsons, isn't it?
It's been widescreen for years though. I remember watching it in 2009 and it was in widescreen, so it's been like that for years. And I don't think the jokes are as bad as Simpsons. Like, the one example I've seen is one of the pothole, where George is standing over a pothole, and he's like, look at this pothole, and you can't see the pothole because it's off screen. But then the camera cuts, like, 2 seconds later to the pothole, so it's not that much of a big deal.
There's a joke where Jerry's TV gets stolen.
Uh-huh.
And the episode ends with them all sitting on the couch watching where the TV would be, but the TV's not there, and that's the, like, haha hilarity. But you do not see that in the widescreen one. So instead, they're just all sitting on the couch and the laugh track's going crazy. And you're like, what? Why are they sitting on the couch? What is the joke?
The same thing has been done with like Malcolm in the Middle and Buffy, except those shows were shot in widescreen but meant for 4:3. Buffy, for example, has like characters supposed to be off screen, but instead they just stand slightly off to the camera. But on the widescreen version, you just see them standing there, and they're supposed to be off screen. And when you cut to Buffy looking around, being like, "Where is that voice coming from? It's directly in front of you, Buffy. It's just off screen."
That's so
slightly.
funny. That's so good. That's so good. So yeah, I don't get the obsession with it. If the thing's best viewed in 4:3, give it to me in 4:3.
Yeah, Buffy has a whole problem in general. Like, there's a scene with a sunset, and it's supposed to signify that a relationship is ending. But in the HD version, because we had to re-edit the whole thing, we forgot to color grade it, so everything's just white. Or you'll see scenes meant to be at night time shot in the day, and it's just daytime. So Buffy will take a light afternoon nap for some reason. It's not great.
That's also my favorite thing in Torchwood at the moment, because it's a lot easier to shoot in the daytime and make it look like nighttime. There's so many times in Torchwood where they're like walking down the street or they're like outside and it's like clearly daylight and they've just made everything blue.
Yes.
So that you think it is nighttime. But if you look at the sky, you go, daylight sky.
I remember that in The Walking Dead, like season 2, there's supposed to be a scene at nighttime, but everything's just blue because it's shot in the day. It's very awkward whenever we do that, isn't it? It's very obvious for us.
It is very obvious, but it's a technique I've used in A Mess of a Movie. The scene where one of the first scenes in the film when Ewan's at the beach cleaning it, and then it goes to nighttime. We shot that in broad daylight and just made it look like nighttime because it is easier to do that than shoot at night because cameras, believe it or not, need light to take image.
No, they don't.
You're right. It's a myth. They work by magic.
And a whole movie can be shot in an afternoon.
Yeah, that's true.
If a movie is 2 hours, it can be shot in 2 hours. That's fact.
Yeah, the 40-minute movie I made didn't take 2 months to do. Well, actually, it took like 2 weeks shooting, but it took like 2 months to edit it. But I've not really been reading or watching much other than that. I'm slowly making my way through the Halo books because I'm just
a nerd. Yes.
Yeah, they're very good. Well, the first one was very good. I'm currently on the second one, which is called The Flood, and it's the novelization of the first game, which is boring as ass to read. It's just action sequence after action sequence of like the Master Chief fired his machine gun into like so many grunts and they all died. It's like okay, I've just got to power through this book so I can get on to the next one because I already know the goddamn story as well because it's the novelization of the video game which I've played, but it's got some extra character development and explains some things in the game that don't get explained, so it's fine.
They should have a part in the book where it says Master Chief got stuck in this level for 2 hours, didn't know what to do.
Master Chief circled the inside of this building for ages until he noticed the arrow on the floor being like, go this way.
He died 20 times in this level.
Oh yeah, especially at the end with the flood. Goddamn nightmare. The flood hit him with an RPG from across the map and he exploded. Oh well. He lost 2 hours of progress. But yeah, that's...
Master Chief found a glitch, started running through a wall.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing. It's just reading and watching TV and relaxing before this week of work I've just finished. What about you?
I've been doing stuff, but I forgot all about what I've been doing. I've been playing the Walking Dead games, which is very good on my Switch.
The Telltale ones.
Yes, I just started playing that.
The season 1's excellent. Love season 1. Season 2's okay, and for me, they got progressively worse. So I'll be interested to see how they work. But I didn't play them as a whole conjoined story. I played them like the years that they came out, which were, a year or two apart. Where I was like, cool. At the end of every season, I'm like, that's the good way to end the story. Oh, we're continuing.
Yeah, I just finished episode 4 today of season 1, the one that ends with the main character being bitten, and the next one is finding
Spoilers.
Clementine. Well, it's been out for like a decade. I don't know.
Oh my god, has it really?
Something like
When
that.
did
I know.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm playing it on my Switch because I've never played it before. I'm not much of a video gamer, but yeah, it's very good so far.
They are very good games. When did 24th of April 2012. So yeah, almost 10 years ago. That's disgusting. I hate that.
And I'm 10 years late to the party. I'm sure everybody's still talking about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's still relevant. The Walking Dead, that relevant TV show.
Oh, I stopped that around season 8, 7.
I tried watching it again when they added it to Disney Plus, and I ended up stopping the last place I stopped, which is the prison storyline, which I find boring as hell.
I really enjoyed the prison storyline. I thought it was better than season 2 at least, but yeah.
Yeah. Season 2's a slog.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try and get back into that show, but I know I'm just going to waste my time, so what's the point in trying, I'm just going to get...
There's so many other shows to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
What else have I been doing, Matthew? I watched Scream again.
nice.
I watched that in cinemas, and it really holds up. It's excellent. It's a perfect movie.
Yep. I saw that film again earlier this year, and it is a phenomenal film.
And the trailer to Scream 5, also called Scream, came out, and it does not look great. Woohoo!
I thought it looked okay. It looked like Scream, didn't it? It's a soft reboot.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know?
Yeah, I think we've spoken about this before in the show, but I'm not too keen on it.
I think we spoke about it on the Torchwood episode that is coming out
2 weeks in a row. We're talking about
time.
Scream.
Yeah, but backwards.
But yeah, I think Scream is like a franchise that got progressively worse. Like, number 1 is a masterpiece. Second one is also really good. The third one has its moments. The fourth one was shit, in my opinion.
I haven't seen the sequels in years. Like, I've seen the sequels once. I've seen the original Scream multiple times. I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. Also, I've been watching Only Murders in This Building. It's kind of like Scream in a way, in terms of writing. It's very meta in terms of it's like 3 people in a building and they witness a murder, and they start a murder podcast about it, trying to investigate the crime. And it's really good. It's got Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, and we work really well together. It's on Disney Plus. You should watch it. It's a really good binge.
Yeah, I'd like to say I would, but I don't know if I will.
It's only 10 episodes, half an hour a pop. It's perfect binge.
That is easy to binge. But is that all you've been doing, Scott? Shall we move on to talking about what's coming?
Yeah, that's everything, I think. Yeah, let's talk about what's
Awesome.
coming. Hurrah!
So, this coming week, we will have our Series 13 Episode 1 review out. And we will be reviewing every episode of the new series, hopefully relatively soon. Stop making Mario bigger. Hopefully relatively soon. Oh god, where's it gone? Hopefully, let's try this sentence again. We're going to be reviewing every episode of the new series, hopefully within, a day or two from the episode airing, depending on what our schedules look like. And I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic about it. That's going to be taking up the bulk of this month, is reviewing this new series of Doctor Who. So the episodes, I think we could probably get half an hour to an hour out of them, but they might be they're not going to be the deep dive that we normally go into. I don't suspect.
And thank God for that, because I don't think we have much time this month in general. I think we're both pretty busy in terms of everything going on.
31 pages of Mario dabbing.
Yes.
Good. This is good audio. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing the new series of Doctor Who, and it'll be nice to focus on the new stuff for Doctor Who for a slight change. We've been looking at a lot of classic Doctor Who recently. Obviously because we just did Liz Sladen month, so we were looking at Liz Sladen stuff, and then before that we were covering, what did we do before Hand of Fear?
Before Hand of Fear, we did. I
can check.
Yeah, you can check.
Guess. Try and guess. While I look this up.
It was September. It might have been Blink. No, Blink was in August.
Blink was ages ago.
Yes.
Blink was ages ago.
Oh my god! I think we might have done the new Doctor box set, Ninth Doctor, maybe.
Maybe that's a good guess.
Oh,
Although that also feel like it was ages ago.
It was, yes. Everything feels like it's ages ago.
So let's see. Sarah Jane's Farewell, The Hand of Fear. It was before that. It was the breaking news of Russell T Davies taking over the show, the monthly news, and then it was Tomb of the Cybermen Part 2.
Oh yes. How did I forget that? It's like one of my favorite episodes.
It's our most popular podcast episodes we've done so far. So
which is insane because it's like probably like
such
the most obscure
episode
one we've done so far.
yeah. But yeah, we're reviewing the new series of Doctor Who this month, and on the 5th of November, which is next week.
Yes, it's next week.
Yes, we will have Torchwood episode 1 coming out as well. So there'll be, like, our schedules gets a bit weird in November, where we're going to be releasing episode reviews and bookending the month basically with deep dives. So we've got Torchwood at the start of the month, and then at the end of the month, what have we got, Scott?
We've got on the 19th of November the Day of the Doctor, which is going to be massive. I reckon it's going to be bigger than the TV movie. I would think.
Yeah, I would hazard a guess that it's going to be bigger than the movie review that we did, which, if you haven't listened to it yet, is available wherever you listen to Who Watches Who, and on our YouTube page. It is 5 hours long almost.
It's a good to listen because we actually found out that the movie is actually pretty damn good, and it's very close to the modern era of the show. It's insane how
we
good
find out that it is a fantastic film that is deeply underrated. And so maybe we'll go into the Day of the Doctor, which is, pretty beloved by everybody, and come out with it being like, oh my god, it's terrible.
I think most of the anniversary episodes are terrible in the whole.
I love the Day of the Doctor. I think it's amazing.
But yeah, we're looking at the Day of the Doctor because it's almost anniversary time for Doctor Who. 58 years. Yeah, that's right. 58 years.
Yeah, 58. Yeah. We're getting ever closer to that 60th anniversary.
Or it's the 8th anniversary of this episode, the Day of the Doctor. What is time?
Yeah.
Time 8 years ago. That's insane.
Yeah, I remember it coming out. I remember the reveal of John Hurt as the War Doctor.
Yes.
I remember watching that live and being like, okay, because I didn't really know who John Hurt was.
I remember screaming at my tiny CRT TV, just being like, "Oh my god!" I was so excited.
Were you watching this in 2002? Are you watching on a CRT TV?
Because it was only TV I had at the time.
I didn't realize you were from the past.
Well, aren't we all?
Yeah, and then obviously at the end of the month we will be doing our monthly news rundown, which I expect we will have quite a bit to talk about, considering it will be halfway near the end of series 13.
We would have like 20. We would have like 2 episodes left of the season, which is insane to think about. We'll be pretty much over and done with this season very soon. I'm getting flustered. My words.
So excited by the prospects of new Doctor Who.
But yeah, November is going to be a busy month for us.
Yeah, busy month of a slightly irregular schedule. So look forward to that. But this has been Who Watches Who. a Doctor Who podcast. This podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. It's on Spotify, it's on Podcast Addict, it's on Apple Podcasts, I think. It's everywhere. There's links all in the description. It's also on YouTube at Who Watches Who. You can follow us on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at Watches Doctor. You can follow myself on Twitter at Cloth223. And Scott, there's other things to add as well.
You can bloody send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com. Have you got something stupid to say like Ewan did earlier? Then
have you got any opinions on this new season of Doctor Who we're currently about to experience / are experiencing? You've got a month to send us emails, so do it or you smell.
But yeah, we're very much looking forward to the new season. I hope it's great. I don't want to dislike Doctor Who anymore. I want it to be great.
I never dislike Doctor Who. I just have periods where I don't talk to it for a while.
I think we're done.
I think that's the end of it. Bye.
Bye bye.